Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to welcome you to the first episode of AEW Dynamite Discussion. On this show, we'll be reviewing everything that happened on AEW's Wednesday Night Dynamite. Each episode will be released weekly at 6 p.m. EST on Fridays. Let's get straight to it. I wanted to start off by saying that this show was absolutely fantastic. I have some small complaints I'll get to, but other than that, this was an amazing first episode of Dynamite. The crowd was so lively, the lights were fantastic, the main stage looks absolutely beautiful, the pyro was great, and the display graphics look fantastic. Alright, let's really get to the review now. The show began with none other than Cody Rhodes, Cody himself. He had a match against Sammy Guevara. First, I want to start by saying I absolutely love Guevara's panda hood. It looks awesome, and I want one. This match was definitely the one to start the show. With such fast-paced action and great characters, there was no better. Midway through the match, Cody went to go for a dive attack, but Guevara pulls his wife in the line of fire. Cody would then get him back by pinning Guevara and winning the match. Only for the AEW champion himself, Chris Jericho, to attack the boss man. This was a great angle, especially leading up to their pay-per-view Full Gear. This really put Jericho into a heel perspective for first-time viewers. He beat Cody with the title belt and then began to take pictures of not only Cody's beaten body, but himself smiling in front of the chaos. Jericho then used some chairs, and after a few minutes, Jericho finally retreats to the locker room. While I'd never witnessed it myself, I'd heard rumors of the great combination of MJF and a microphone. Oh my god, was he fantastic. Even with such a short dialogue, he managed to do a fantastic job. The big man himself had a match against Brandon Cutler, another excellent match. MJF displayed his heelishness by pulling a ref in front of himself and using him as a shield. In the end, MJF forced Cutler to tap and picked up a victory. The next match was that of Pac versus Hangman Page. Two excellent wrestlers and performers. It's a real shame that WWE never did more with Neville, because if he was brought up to the main roster, he most definitely would have been a main eventer. Pac released a shot to Paige a bit too low, a few moments before hitting his absolutely stunning finisher and locking in his submission, thereby winning the match. Britt Baker came out to do some commentating on the match that would decide the first ever AEW Women's Champion, Rhea versus Nyla Rose. I was definitely rooting for Rose in this match, and I was a bit surprised by the outcome. Our only women's match of the night, but nonetheless, absolutely phenomenal. Wow, I really use the same words over and over again, don't I? Guys, what do you think? Should I, switch up my dialogue a bit? I think it's getting a little bit repetitive. People get annoyed with that. But nonetheless, absolutely riveting. In conclusion, our first ever AEW Women's Champion was crowned, Rio. But not before Nyla attacks Rio and her manager. Luckily, the Women's Champion was saved by the man, Kenny Omega. Speaking of Kenny Omega, he joined forces with the Young Bucks to take on Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz. A great match before the only superstar that wasn't seen earlier in the night showed up, Jon Moxley. Moxley and Omega have themselves a match at Full Gear, so this was very expected. What was unexpected was how early in the matchup this would take place, and that the ref wouldn't call a DQ, and that Omega was put through a glass table. The match then became a handicap match before Jericho would take the victory for his team. Cody then got revenge by switching roles and attacking the AEW champion. Guevara then arrives and hits a low blow on the company manager, only for him to be taken out by Dustin. But then, who would save Guevara? The up-and-coming, freshly debuted, Jake Hager. This was a big surprise and really got the fans into the action. Hager really seemed to focus his beating on Dustin, and I would not be surprised if they had a match announced at Full Gear. As I said, a perfect start to the show with little issues here and there. I think they started off on the right foot and earned a 9 out of 10. That wraps up our first episode of AEW Dynamite Discussion. If you have enjoyed this video, subscribe for weekly content and comment down below what you thought of Dynamite's first episode. Have a good week, everyone, and always remember, fight on.